Does sleep feel lighter? Are you not being able to build muscle like you once did? Maybe your muscles deteriorating. Uh, Maybe recovery feels slower. You are not alone. This is not a motivation problem. This is a signaling problem. Hi, I'm Chanel Cosette Jepson. I am the Senior VP of Product Innovation, and I am a nutraceutical formulator and functional nutritionist. And today I am so excited to give you kind of the masterclass behind Sermorelin. This is a human growth stimulating peptide. Peptides are all the rage right now. And I just want to talk about how it is really comes down to these signals. We have essentially, I would say, lost the communication. This class is educational use only. This presentation is only for information. It does not replace any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment that you have received from your practitioner. It is a prescription therapy and must be prescribed and monitored by a licensed medical provider. As always, always consult your healthcare practitioner before starting or changing any medical treatment. Let's get into it, guys. All right. So, if you're feeling like your sleep is lighter, you just can't recover the way you did, and your muscle, it's harder to maintain. You guys, it's not just aging, it's signaling. This human growth hormone, it plays a critical role in deep restorative sleep, muscle maintenance, fat metabolism. Like I said, this is a signaling thing. You're gonna feel if your sleep is starting to feel shallow, or your recovery is slower, or your muscle is harder to maintain. One of the things we're finding is that as we age, our growth hormone production is actually declining by 1 to 2% every year after the age of 30. That decline is gradual and it may be kind of quiet, which is why people often blame themselves. But it's really not that your body has just stopped trying, it maybe has lost that repair signal. So let's go into what this hormone actually does. Oh, all right. So here it is. Here's our Sermorelin. This is not just a muscle hormone. You guys, it's actually a repair hormone. Technically, your growth hormone is released by your pituitary gland in pulses, and it's mostly happening while you sleep. So functionally, that means that you have your repair tissue, it's going to maintain lean muscle, mobilize fat, strengthen bones, and just help you recover from stress. In the most simplest of terms, growth hormone tells your body that it's safe to rebuild itself. So when these signals start to weaken, everything downstream becomes maybe a little less efficient. Okay. So, like I said, signals start to weaken, everything downstream becomes less efficient. All right, so how this is actually going to show up in real life. So here you have this chart. I'm going to really try to make this as simple as possible. But so you have your pituitary gland, and it is going to be releasing these hormone analogs. Here's the simple version of that. Essentially, Sermorelin tells your pituitary gland to release its own growth hormone. So this does not replace growth hormones, and it does not override your system. It essentially strengthens the signal. So I want you to think as Sermorelin, it's not going to force the door open, right? Like it's not going to come in kicking. It's just going to nightly knock and let your body answer. And so this is a really clear distinction for long-term health, that it's not necessarily replacing anything, it's just stimulating what you already are going to be doing. So you have this exogenous HGH bypasses this brain's regulatory system, but your Sermorelin is not going to do that. So Sermorelin preserves feedback loops. It's going to maintain this release, right? And it's going to work with your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland. So in plain English, it's just going to replace, or I'm sorry, it's just going to respect your biology, the way your biology is right now. And that is actually why naturally stimulating this hormone is a really balanced, long-term approach. And because it's not going to replace anything, it's just going to replace, or it's just going to stimulate what you already should be doing. All right, so here is a chart of this human growth hormone, and you're going to see these drops, right? You're going to see some really dramatic drops. But I want you to really focus on probably just after the age of 30, because that is when I have seen people just start to really notice this. They start to notice that their body isn't building muscle like it used to. It's not recovering like it used to. It's just not doing the things that it once did. Okay. And that, like I said, that's going to show up downstream in you being tired, in your metabolic system not working the way it used to work. Um, you're not being able to sleep as soundly as you once did, right? So it's going to start showing up, and it does. It happens gradually until one day you wake up and you think, oh, well, shoot, things are just not working the way it used to. And I'm doing all the same things, but I just don't get to show up the same way that I used to. So, who is going to benefit most? Both men and women, okay? I will say the most common candidates. That does not mean if you're sitting there and you are outside of these groups that this could not be beneficial for you. I'm just saying these are the most common candidates. So it's going to be adults between 35 and 65. This tends to be what I call the menopause peptide because it helps with muscle, sleep, bone density, skin, all of the things that women are saying they show up one day and then all of a sudden everything's a little lackluster in those areas. So perimenopausal and menopausal women. Men with declining lean mass, meaning their muscle is going down. And the reason why this is so critical is I think of muscle as your longevity organ. It's essentially your insurance for long-term health. It is critical for, I mean, because sarcopenia is when your muscle starts to deteriorate with age. And some of the side effects of that are obviously gaining weight because your metabolic system is now weakened. But other things are joints, right? Your joints start to ache and hurt and you aren't able to recover like you used to. So I want to think of muscle as really your insurance policy for longevity. And this is one of the things that will really help with that. People who are high stressed individuals, okay, these people, they can essentially accelerate the decline of this. Poor sleep, slow recovery. These are the people who they just are not recovering like they once did. Maybe you're going to sleep and you're waking up and you're like, I don't even feel like I got sleep. Like I don't feel recovered. Or you get a hard workout in and your body just isn't healing after it. And so this is an amazing peptide, especially for people who are active. They lift weights. They want better results in the gym. They want better results with their body composition. And they're looking for a way of taking their base and just amplifying it. Okay, 70% of this hormone actually occurs during sleep. Okay, that's why bedtime, like, this is aligned with bedtime. It's almost like, say, you're scheduling a construction crew overnight when traffic is the lowest. Okay, so you know how they do a lot of construction on the streets at night when people are sleeping because there's less cars on the road. Okay, that is exactly why this is stimulated at night, and it's really because there's so much less happening at night because we want to work with our body's natural rhythms instead of against it. Okay, so that is why I want to go through really when you're going to be taking this, all of those nitty gritty details. But I want to recap real quick so that you know who this is for. Okay, so this is for women who are perimenopausal, menopausal, or they're looking to amplify their results in the gym, or men who are looking to amplify their results in the gym. This is for people who are looking for better sleep, better skin, better bone density, and looking for a metabolic lift, if you will. That is who this peptide is for. And it does not replace hormones your body already produces. It just amplifies the signaling to trigger the hormones that your body is already producing. And it's producing those at night, which is why this injection happens at night. All right. So I want to talk about my key recommendations for timing and diet. This does not replace what your practitioner has told you. These are just general guidelines, but as always, look at your specific prescription, talk to your practitioner because they will know how many times a day you need to take this, if it's just at night, all of those different things. So you may have different details than what I'm sharing. These are just general guidelines to help you. So, best time of day. Evening dosing is recommended. The body releases the majority of its growth hormones during sleep. So this is just physiologically aligned. Okay. So like I said, when traffic is at its lowest, we want to repair the roads. We want to repair your body. So nighttime is going to be the best. On an empty stomach. When insulin is high after eating, your growth hormone signals are suppressed. That is why Sermorelin is typically, like I said, typically used on an empty stomach, 1 to 3 hours after eating, and then you're going to want to avoid food for 30 to 60 minutes afterward. You can drink water. So essentially, lower insulin equals clearer growth hormone signals. Okay, so you're going to do this at night. I recommend stop eating earlier. Say, say you're done eating 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then you just take this right before bed, 9 o'clock, whatever your schedule looks like. So you're just going to want to wait, and then you can take water after. You just don't want to do anything that messes with your insulin. Okay. So that is timing and diet. So this is why this matters. Insulin and growth hormone, like I said, they kind of have an inverse relationship. Meals are going to spike insulin, and that's going to reduce your growth hormone secretion. So you're going to want to take Sermorelin in a fasted state. All right, now 5 days on, 2 days off. Once again, friendly reminder, if your prescription says something different than I'm saying on the screen, that is absolutely okay because your practitioner is going to work with your bio-individuality and prescribe a timing and dosage and everything that is specific to you. These are just general guidelines. Typically, you're going to see your hormone receptors can be desensitized if they're overstimulated. Okay, so we don't want to overstimulate them. So you're going to want to do 5 days on, 2 days off. Keep it consistent. So if on the screen you want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at night, then you're going to take Saturday and Sunday off and just do that consistently every week. Okay. And that's going to help it so that it doesn't become desensitized. This is going to help preserve your receptor sensitivity. This is also going to help it maintain responsiveness, okay? And also support really long-term effectiveness. I like to think of this as kind of when you go to the gym, right? You have your training days and you have your rest days. And adaptation actually takes recovery. Your body needs to recover. So you're going to take 5 days on, 2 days off. Okay. Now I want to jump to the next one to kind of recap all of this. Once again, check your own prescription, but these are just general guidelines. And I just want to explain to you the method behind it and why you're doing what you're doing. So evening meals, you're going to eat 2 to 3 hours before your dosing. So before you take your injection. You are going to want to prioritize protein. This is really important. You're going to want to prioritize protein. This is going to help avoid insulin spikes late at night. And I want you to think of those as opposite ends of the magnet, okay? They're going to repel against each other. You do not want high insulin when you're taking this. So 2 to 3 hours before, really prioritize your protein. You're going to want to limit high carb or sugary snacks. You're going to want to avoid fatty, heavy meals, okay? Also, alcohol. You're going to want to avoid alcohol. It can impair your growth hormone release, and alcohol is really terrible for your sleep and recovery. That is why I would recommend something to calm your central nervous system like NAD Dreams, because it also is going to produce NAD plus while you sleep, but it's also going to help calm your central nervous system with like organic tart cherry, and it has like just different ingredients that are going to help you chill out. So I kind of think of it as your wind down, but without wine. Okay, so no alcohol or limit your alcohol. Maybe just save that if you do drink, maybe just save that for the weekends when you're not taking your injection. Consistency matters. So I want you to repeat the dosing at the same time, same nights a week, right? Follow your prescribed schedule. And yours might look different than this, okay? There might be a reason why you need to take this multiple times a day, or you're dosing, or like everybody, I just want you to pay attention to your specific prescription, but these are just general guidelines. Okay, now in order to help your responsiveness, right, we want to make sure that we want to make sure that you're allowing your signals to kind of reset. So you are going to have those 5 days on, those 2 days off, but I want you to also you're going to do 6 months on, and then you're going to do a 2 week washout period. This is going to actually reset your responsiveness. Okay, so 6 months. At your 6 month, you're just going to take 2 weeks off and to kind of reset that responsiveness. And always consult your physician. Okay, consistency equals better results. So you're going to notice week 1, you're going to notice your quality of sleep may improve. By week 3, you're recovering from workouts like you haven't in a long time. By week 4, you're going to get some better mental clarity. You're going to be firing on all cylinders, okay? By week 8, your skin, you're going to see improvements. You guys, that's just 2 months to see like legit improvements in your skin elasticity. By week 12, so 3 months in, you are going to see body comp goals. I want you to also focus on the lifestyle things surrounding Sermorelin, okay? You do want to lift weights. This is just going to amplify your results in the gym. Okay, just better signaling. This is going to help you hit those body goals that you're looking for. And those it's just really going to help really, but I just want you to focus on amplifying what you're already doing. So, it is going to work best with some lifestyle. Sorry, I'm going to go back real quick. So it's going to work best when paired with things like adequate protein. Okay, you're going to want to make sure that you're getting an adequate protein, nutrient dense foods, consistent sleep, hydration. Hydration is really key. We have a product called Spring, which has electrolytes, but it also has ATP or Elevate TP, which stimulates ATP production. And you need ATP in order to absorb electrolytes. So it's an advanced hydration and also cellular energy. But you're going to want to make sure that you hydrate because those minerals are also part of messaging in your body. You're going to want to avoid high carb, high sugar foods, maybe some large heavy meals, especially at night, so that your body can actually, release this human growth hormone. And then of course, alcohol, like I said, you're going to want to limit that. I will say that consistency matters more than perfection. So just do what you can every day and just try to make it a consistent cadence, and you're going to feel just, I'm so excited for you guys to get your hands on this peptide. It is really incredible to see what happens when your body starts signaling the way it was supposed to. When your body starts communicating the way it used to, you are going to feel and honestly look incredible. And I think that is what I'm most excited about with this peptide is those different things. Most people are going to notice those changes gradually because you just show up every day, you do the work, and then you're going to start to see these results, and they're just going to start compounding on themselves month after month. Okay. That's why consistency is so key. So you're going to, like I said, you're going to see your sleep improve first. You're going to see the recovery follows quickly after that, and that those body comps, it's going to shift. And this is going to also be really key if you are on a GLP-1 peptide, whether it is a microdose or a tirzepatide or a semaglutide. These are going to work so well together. Make sure you always speak with your practitioner, but typically you're going to see these work to really well together in helping weight loss and body comp. Okay, so it's really tackling two things at once, which could be the key in really getting results a lot quicker than you would otherwise by just maybe hitting the gym or just dieting. It's like you're pairing diet with exercise, but amplification on both weight loss and amplification on body comp, skin, bone density, and just recovery. So I want you to think of this as kind of expanding your repair capabilities. When signaling improves, outcomes follow. So we want to support the system. We're going to give the body all of the tools it needs in order to work the way it did. Okay. We are going to make sure we're eating protein. We're going to make sure we're hydrating. We're going to make sure that we're intaking our fiber, that we're working out those lifestyle things. But a lot of times, in order to even get to those lifestyle things, you want improved signaling. You want to quiet the food noise so that you can focus on life-changing foundations. But I will tell you, when the signaling improves, those outcomes are going to follow. When medicine respects physiology, longevity becomes sustainable. And these are just ways that you can live better and you can look better. And I think that is one of the things that I'm loving about really biohacking is the ability to just take what you're doing, habit stack on top of it, and the results like are magnified. They're huge. And that's part of what I love. So Sermorelin, it isn't about forcing, say, youth. It's really restoring the body's ability to repair, adapt, and recover. You guys, thank you so much for learning with me. I hope I answered a lot of your questions, the nitty-gritty details. As always, make sure to like, share, and follow us on YouTube with @XMD Wellness. Have a good day.